All right, this is Jose Covarrubias, working on the final project for CIT 260, and I want to start right off with the arrays. Arrays are classes that you can create to store items. They can be fixed, meaning that the number of items are preset and they can be changed, or they're not fixed and the number of items in it can change. And those are, as we know, to be array list. Arrays are good for one-dimensional or multi-dimensional arrays, and they're great for, as we notice on our project for this class, you can do create a map with an array. Array lists are great for storing the items, for example, because you can keep adding items to that list when on enums or arrays you cannot add more numbers to it or items because they're fixed, their length is fixed. Something to notice about arrays is that their syntax is very similar, at least on arrays, one-dimensional and multi-dimensional. As you can see, a one-dimensional array has one set of brackets that would store the data. You can put as many items in it, and that would fix the length of it. A multi-dimensional will have two brackets because the first one will be the first dimension, second one will be the second dimension. And this doesn't create the array itself. You have to add the word new to it in order to create a new instance and a new array. And excuse me, you can add the values, creating a new variable given any given number or data, and then you can add the variable name in here or the actual numbers, and that will do it. Array lists are very interesting because they're very flexible, and the fact that you can actually store two different type of data which you can't do that on array or enums. They have to be the same data on the inside the array. Array list, you can add actually two different types of data. I'll show you an example. When we go to the code that we were writing for the class, we noticed that we did some list of items like inventory or weapons or food or locations. And as you can see here, we have an array list with the data of points with an variable name overload coordinates. So every time we have a new position, like see coordinates 1A, 128, and 19, those locations will have an overlook coordinate. This is part of one of the scenes. So every time you get one of these locations are called or assigned, they would have this scene in it. And I have something I did early in the class to try out the arrays. And as you can see here, I have a very simple array. This is a one-dimensional array. Its data type is a string because it has names of items here, and they're divided by the comma, and they're with between quotation marks. My array variable is called cars, and here I can I ask the user, okay, this is my array, this is what I have in my array. I will show him or the user this so they know what they have to do. And then I ask the user to enter a number to show what car they want. And obviously I use the scanner in this case. Once the scanner gets the input from the user, stores it on a variable named car, which then is transferred to this other variable to make it an integer. And then using the for loop, I can go through the array. This is part of the questions that we need to, how to access the index on an array. Remember that arrays indexes start at 0. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Even though it starts at 0, it still counts. So I have 4 items in this array. So let me just run this really quick so you can see what I'm talking about. Actually, let's see. All right, so I display my array. This is what I have in my array, and I ask the user enter a car number. So let's say I want a Honda. I'll press 1 and enter 1, and that shows me Honda. If I do it again, and if I say I want Dodge, I can press 3, and it will show me Dodge. Those are very handy because arrays can help a lot in any type of code. In our game, it help a lot because array lists, for example, can be used to enter or to store a bunch of items or names. If I was to ask, enter your name and then another name, it can be stored in an array list because it can build on top of it of the array. It doesn't have to be prefixed. Also, in our game, we did something that we practiced about throw and catch errors. A good example is to understand that when it's propagated or when it's actually creating a new exception. When it creates a new exception of an error, you will find this word throw new. That means that this error is going to go right back up to the first function that call or the trigger the functions. It doesn't have to go back to the one before. Again, if there were 3 or 4 functions working together, this one can go immediately up to the first one and display the error. When the propagate errors, they only they have to call upon their previous function to be able to display the error message. And we can show something like that here on the game. If you notice here, I have on my build control, this is for the ship. And there's 3 other functions before this one, before we get to this one, that are called. If I run my game, I'm going to start with my name and start the new game, and then try to build the ship. It asked me for a couple measurements, so I'll start with the first one. Number 12 and a 12, and then 8. And my error messages said that if I had an error on the third line, it will tell me that. So I can see that, I can tell me that here. So what if I messed up on the first one? Let me see. 1, 2. Now, because I passed the values that I set as limits, it tells me that the first one goes up. It can only go up to 15 on any of these, so that's why it throw the error. Actually, the third one only up to 5. But throw and catch errors are for that, for you to be able to recognize in which of the functions actually the error occurred, whether on the input, whether on the control layer where the calculations were performed, and stuff like that. Another thing that we did almost at the end was to write files into a program, and that was pretty handy because now we can store our errors or some of the information here. you first start off by creating getters and setter functions for that with the get in file, get the out file, set the out files, and creating the imports for that. Just as a scanner does the import, you do the same for the input streamer or reader or print writer. And when we created a report, we created the function that starts the report. And every time you want to add something to the report, you can create the function that calls the constructor for the report file, and then you can call the function that you wanna start writing the report of. So, example, we have here our inventory, our characters, and our weapons. And if you wanted to add another report, you can just add another line and repeat the constructor and the function that you want to report on, and that would do it. If I keep running on our code here, I can just to finish this one, and then I will call the function that I wanted. I can build the report now. So our reports are ask me to where do I want to save my file. Okay, I wanted to save it on Jose report. Perfect. All right, it tells me that my report was stored in that file. And if I go and check my files real quick here, where I have my game saved, I can see that was saved. It was a report, and I can open that, and it will show me the report. It stamps. This is stamped with the time. We can see it's 11:38, very close to the line, and it reports of the 3 items that we have in there: the weapons, the characters, and the map. Perfect. So we can see those are very handy because you can keep adding to this. You can add the scenes. You can add the items on inventory. I mean anything else with this constructor. Also, the fact that you want to write characters, or in this case, use the what is it here? As it was called, what's the difference between writing a character or the bytes? Bytes are binary data, and though most of the information computers read is binary data, you want to store characters. That way you can store both items pertaining numbers or information, and as well as characters. Let's see what else. The statics. Whenever you have let's see, let me find one here. On the statics are values or variables that you can only call, or you can actually call the statics. You can call them from any time on your code. When they're not static, that you can only call them within the same function or the same class, because they would not be public or accessible from anywhere else. But our code runs great. I can every time I missed entering a value, we get the messages are propagated or the exceptions are created. Let's see here. Let's put. I want to view the map. It shows up. I want to view the weapons. They show up, or the inventory as well. I can cancel this. Go back, and all of our menus work. So we definitely learned a lot this semester with classes and how to manage passing values from one class to another, calling functions, and now at the end, how to catch up the errors on any particular function. So that helps a lot. Hope this helps, and have a great night.